With the judge declaring mistrial in YNW Melly's recent trial, we would now see rappers sharing their thoughts and opinions on the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. The juror inquiry form, it indicates that after further discussions, reviewing the evidence and speaking freely amongst the jurors, we are still unable to reach a unanimous decision. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just declare mistrial because it's mistrial. And again, I want to thank you very much for your time and attention. It's very much appreciated. You're free to go. All right, score time. Thank you.
As we would see Trippie Redd start celebrating on his Instagram. Then we would see something unexpected. Friend of late King Von, O-Block resident named J Hood would reveal something concerning about YNW Melly, as King Von may have mentioned a little too much to a group of people that are located in O-Block, as J Hood would end up revealing everything on a No Jumper podcast.
Did Von really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Von was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? What the bam? I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
Revealing information that we never even knew, involving YNW Sakchaser and YNW Juvy going after Melly for financial gain and trying to get the most amount of money out of him. You almost want to fully believe J Hood here, as if you know anything about King Von, he would never lie when it came to street stuff. Also, Von made a song with YNW Melly titled Rollin', including many Instagram lives of the two together, even at a shopping mall. The two of them were really good friends, and YNW Melly could have told them some secrets. There's even the famous video of Lil Durk and King Von on the phone with YNW Melly while he was in jail.
Bust, you got tippy. Bust harder than mine. It's me. It's
It'll be very interesting if the interview with J Hood stating to the world that YNW Melly did this because he was protecting himself from Sakchaser and Juvy will be getting used in the new upcoming YNW Melly trial. The prosecutors are looking for more evidence to use against Melly, and it seems as if King Von's friend J Hood just basically gave it to them for free.
It is confirmed YNW Melly will be tried by prosecutors in Florida for double again in front of a new jury. Prosecutors in Broward County going out of their way to let it be known there's a status hearing coming up on Friday, but they went ahead and over the weekend contacted NBC6 and told them that yes, we do intend to try Melly again for double. Now, the questions that hopefully will be answered at this Friday's upcoming status conference. One, when is that trial going to happen? There's a co-defendant trial who's set to go forward. When in relation to the trial will this trial be? Number two, will Melly get a bond pending his new trial? I'm sure his lawyer is going to push that very hard. And then we'll see number three, are there going to be any changes to the evidence? Is either side going to seek to introduce new evidence, introduce new witnesses? Will all of the witnesses who were available last time be available this time? We will learn more this Friday to see what's next in the saga of the YNW Melly double trial.
The existing evidence that will be used against YNW Melly is already concerning. Now when you add the interview with J Hood, it may be enough for YNW Melly to be looked at as guilty, as it actually ties in with what the lead detective revealed during the trial, which was a text message of YNW Melly admitting to doing the crime.
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
And could you please stand and point on the right side of the screen exactly which part you're saying where the YNW Melly account says, "I did that"?
I did that. This is the thread ID.
This is the text, this is the author, and this is the recipient. Then you come down here, same thing. The ID is for the actual message, which is just specific that one message. Then the thread ID is the actual continuation of continuing message.
For more context, hours after the passings in 2018, somebody would message YNW Melly on Instagram saying, "Hey, are you okay? Tell me something," where YNW Melly is seen literally replying, "I did that," with a happy face emoji. While this was being shared within the courtroom, YNW Melly was seen covering his face, looking embarrassed. However, the evidence against him would only get worse, as we would then see more incriminating text messages between Melly and his girlfriend at the time. You just really need to read through the lines.
Moving on to Friday, November 9th, 2029, 20 UTC, 2018. Message from Melly, Montana to, again, that baby. What does that one say?
You don't with me anyways. I peeped it. You can slide, but God knows I wasn't in her and real breaking. You spoiled everything was given to you. You act like a some slide. I keep Bortlen with cuz
As YNW Melly is seen stating, he will remain loyal to Bortlen all the way until the end, in that Bortlen did one of the realest things in his life for him. I really wonder what that could be. However, also on YNW Melly's cell phone was a confession video to turning himself in.
There's also video number 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that video, Mr. Demons uses a term that I don't want, that I think would be inflammatory, and on 403 grounds we would object. It refers.
Play it again.
Sure.
Hello, so everybody. This is real footage. My name is Melvin, and I'm gonna turn myself in, but I'm in a suitcase because they arrested me, and I had to get on a private jet, and I don't want them to see me.
However, while investigating YNW Melly's cell phone, they realized a saved video link from a Facebook live stream. On this Facebook live stream was YNW Melly and Bortlen's reactions hours after the crime happened, as YNW Melly was seen filming a music video roughly 8 hours after the incident. The strange part is, a report would go to share the Stranger Things jacket YNW Melly is wearing in this video just hours after the crime is the same one Juvy had on when they left the studio early on that morning. YNW Bortlen is wearing the one Sakchaser had on too.
You see him? Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! The dog still turned regardless of what happened. You already know.
As then shortly after that was shared, Sergeant Williams would then take the stand. He didn't hold back in the slightest by revealing the crime could not have been a drive-by.
Assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive-by. And my determination was that this is not a drive-by. And it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done. One is done at a stationary position. At a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in. The one round that has some movement in it, which is round site L here, the actually moving in that to create the little bit of a that you see there.
Okay, a lot of information in that answer, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned so I'm gonna zoom in on site F.
As he would go on to investigate the entire vehicle that the crime happened in, taking note of every single hole that was inside of the vehicle, and then used what is called the stick method to find out how the holes were created, including the direction of where it could have came from, as YNW Melly C ended up revealing a perfect match.
number, you said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car?
3.
And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas as coming from outside of the car?
Yes. From the driver's side back seat.
As to the shot that Christopher Thomas, where did that emanate from?
Driver's side back seat.
Okay. Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car?
No.
Why not?
There is no time.
So with Sergeant Williams guaranteeing that this crime must have happened from inside of the vehicle from the person in the back left seat, the state would then call YNW Juvy's mother to the record so then she can reveal who was sitting where in the car.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
I'm Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Pause it at 2/19/15. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
And is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
And Jamel, is that the defendant, Jamel Demons?
Yes, ma'am.
With the jury hearing the crime must have happened from inside of the vehicle and where YNW Melly was sitting, we would then see YNW Juvy's father reveal that he believed YNW Melly was guilty ever since the day it happened.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation when I finally talked to him in Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They wasn't reacting to, they acted like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right.
Thankfully, YNW Melly does have some benefits on his side, which you definitely need to see, as Melly was only granted the mistrial for one reason. This would be his famous angry lawyer. On closing day, he was screaming in the courtroom over the fact that the jury had to make a decision on YNW Melly's life with such little evidence.
And tell him that he's going to live life in the state penitentiary without parole or being on parole. This is the investigation they want you to rely upon and say it's proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt? I guess so, according to them.
As YNW Melly's lawyer would then continue on being angry inside of the courtroom, as his next argument was in the original crime documents, it was, quote, labeled as a drive-by, yet the police never even looked at the surrounding stores that had surveillance cameras on the outside to see the cars that were all driving in the area at that specific time. It would have been an easy way to investigate license plates of people that were there at the time of the crime.
That he doesn't go to the on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Applebee's to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Polo Tropical or the gas station or the bank on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tapes. When the car's on 184th Avenue, he doesn't go to the fire station to check their tapes, surveillance tapes. Doesn't go back to the two elementary schools, Sunset Lakes and West Broward Elementary, to check their surveillance tape, because he knows it all. He knows it. How do you know it if you don't check?
Which is a very fair point and is likely what led to the mistrial. It proves very sloppy police work and just zero overall effort. When you add that in with the amazing testimony from Melly's 6th grade best friend, it's why YNW Melly got his mistrial, where he would end up revealing that YNW Melly wasn't even at the crime scene when it occurred.
Are you 100% sure that Melly got into the red Mitsubishi to go home?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that this young man learned of his friends at the exact same time you learned of it?
Yes.
And that was at the house?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that when people were getting on the phone, that this young man was looking for his phone to call people?
Yes.
As Adrian Davis would then even double down his claims of Melly not being there, sharing that YNW Melly was picked up by the YNW members that were driving in the red vehicle that was at the recording studio, as the people in the red vehicle needed somebody with a set of house keys to let them into the YNW crib, so picking up YNW Melly was a way of doing so.
Okay, so the only two people you know who had a key to the house was this young man.
Yes.
And Cortland Henry.
Yes.
Did you see this young man unlock the door of the house?
Yes.
Who was the last person to get out of the red Mitsubishi to go inside the house?
Trayvon, he was in the cot still asleep.
Did you see where Melly went?
To his room.
And where was his bedroom?
When you first walked in the house, can't miss it, it's right down the left.
Okay. This is a 1 or 2 story house?
2.
As this is where YNW Melly gets his first alibi in the court case, where Adrian Davis claims that he saw YNW Melly walk to the front door, open the door, and walk straight to his bedroom to go to sleep. While sleeping for roughly an hour or two, he would then see YNW Melly exiting his bedroom as everyone inside of the YNW crib was screaming when learning the news about Sakchaser and Juvy. He even knows this is true, as he even detailed what clothes YNW Melly was wearing.
Did there come a time in the early morning hours that you were woken up and heard some distressing news?
Yes.
What did you hear?
That second Juvy was shot.
When you heard that, did you see Melly in the house?
Yes.
Did you see Melly how he was dressed in the house?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
Shorts and a t-shirt, I think.
With Adrian Davis giving YNW Melly a strong alibi, as well as YNW Melly's lawyer making a very valid claim against the evidence the prosecutors were trying to use, it's why YNW Melly got his mistrial. We would then even see Melly's mother share on Snapchat, 9 not guilties, 3 guilties. It was a mistrial, my son will be home. God is still working. Meaning a majority of jurors believed that YNW Melly was innocent, as this will also be used at a bond hearing very soon. Just as his manager 100K Track mentioned, a mistrial is a step in the right direction.
All right, we just heard from the judge that this was a mistrial and that the jury could not come to a unanimous decision. And Track, tell us, you are the manager for YNW Melly. What's your reaction to the mistrial?
I mean, I'm happy with it, you know what I'm saying? It's not the verdict we would want, of course, but, you know, it's a second chance. And I take that literal for everything. Second chance at life, second chance for a better defense. So, you know, I'm excited. Really feel like Melly's coming home. Didn't feel like that, but it's just, you know, I'm confirmed it.
Have you had a chance to talk to Melly since he's been during this trial, and whether or not, you know, what his reaction would be to a mistrial?
I mean, you know, they took his phone privileges a long time ago before we even got to this case, so no, but I'm pretty sure he's he's patient. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get into his music, you know, write more, get into praying, and just because he coming home. So if it's not today or tomorrow.
This would then even later result in YNW Melly's actual lawyers doing an interview outside of the courtroom.
Just had the mistrial called, and I need to have both of your reactions.
Obviously, we want to thank the jury for their great efforts that they've extended over this period of time. But we are somewhat disappointed that Melly is not walking out the door with us. That's all I can say for right now.
And David, do you have anything you want to say further?
I don't really have much to add except to say that the jury did pay attention. We asked them to do a lot, and they hung in there and gave it its best effort, their best effort, and it's the most we could ask of them.